Today I thought I'd do a video for people that are newly single. Maybe they haven't been on a dating app before and they are generally terrified. And I think it just highlights the differences between men and women on dating apps. And I've broken down the differences between men and women. These statistics are statistics I've literally just pulled out my pocket. They're obviously not real, but I reckon a good 80% of females on dating apps are looking for their husband. That is primarily why females go on dating apps. And then you get the other 20% that are not looking for their husband. And people say that females are really difficult to work out. We're supposed to be the more complicated sex, but really we're not. When a woman goes on a dating app, it's either to find her husband or not. And there won't even be subsex to that. It will literally be women will want a friends with benefits type of situation, a type of situation where they will be having a sexual kind of arrangement that is consistent on some basis. It's ultimately up to you if you choose that relationship, that type of relationship, and there are perils to doing that. But I think for men especially, it's really clear to see what women want on a dating app. They usually set their standards out really clearly. It's either, look, I want a relationship, or I want something casual. And there isn't really much grey area in between the two. Whereas, oh boy, men are much more complicated. And I've split it down into X and Y. And like I've said, 80% are looking for a husband, about 20% not looking for a husband. It's just so straightforward. And then the Y bit, I've put, why are you even on Tinder? Because it's just so complicated with men. And as I was having my breakfast smoothie, I came up with, how many types of men do you think I came up with? Like 2 seconds to think. 16. I came up with 16 types of men while literally just having my breakfast smoothie that I find on dating apps all the time. People say that men are so easy to understand. They literally just want food and alone time and sex. But it's like, no, men are so much more complicated than that. I've come up with 16 that I think you need to be aware of. And obviously I think 16 isn't extensive. If I'd had more time to prepare for this video, this video probably could have been an hour. Like, no word of a lie, it could have been an hour. And it's literally like, you know, the infinity symbol, where the options just go on and on and on and they just run into each other. It's literally like that. So this might be a long one, so get a cuppa. And yeah, this one's for my girlies. It's for my girlies this week. So I've broken it down into the different types of men. And I think, first of all, we need to start off with divorced men. Okay, we're not even starting off with the single ones. We're starting off with the ones that are newly divorced, because divorced men can create havoc. The first type of divorced man you want to look out for are the ones that are looking for the replacement wife. They're literally just looking for someone that they want to look after their children. They're almost like, you know, a Captain Von Trapp. They don't even care who the woman is. They just want that kind of female figure to come in, solve all their problems, look after the children, make the packed lunches, and all of this. And that's the type of man you want to avoid. And they'll literally just love bomb you, tell you everything you want to hear, just because they want that replacement wife. It won't be a massive percentage on Tinder, but like real life, you're gonna get that. And I don't find it all the time, but every now and then you can kind of find someone that is literally, they almost don't even care who the woman is. They literally just want someone to sweep in, deal with all that shit that they don't want to deal with, because it's been so difficult for them to go from married to single. So you need to watch out for them. The second type of divorced men to avoid is the divorced man that just wants to fuck around. A lot of divorced men, I'm sorry, they're like a rat out of a cage, and they literally, it's as if, you know, no holds are barred. And obviously if they've gone from sleeping with one woman for a multiple amount of time, naturally for a man, they'll want to experience new women sexually, and they'll want to explore that. And it's fine if men are honest about that on their dating profile, but sadly a lot of men aren't, and sadly a lot of divorced men just aren't ready, and they fling themselves on, you know, the dating apps and Tinder because they feel they've missed out. Remember, for men, sadly a lot of a man's self-esteem and being macho comes from, unfortunately, sleeping with a lot of women, being that kind of dominant alpha man, that kind of toxic masculinity that we see online, where if men have slept with a lot of women, they're seen as, you know, the better man, the alpha chad. There's still that kind of dynamic that goes around online. So a lot of men just want to experience more women because they feel almost as if it makes them more of a man. And sadly, you'll run into these divorced men that just don't want to settle, they don't want a second wife. A lot of the times they've, you know, no fault of their own, they've been deeply hurt. And if a man's been deeply hurt, they probably won't want to fall in love again. They're just not ready. And they can go around and traumatize other women through no fault of their own. And it's not even like a subconscious thing that they do, it's just something that they're not even aware of. So you have to kind of sadly be aware of the divorced men that literally just want to fuck around. But not all divorced men are bad. I've put here, you'll also see the divorced men that generally want to fall in love. I mean, not all divorced men are the same. Some men, they might have had a bad experience and they just want to find their, you know, their next wife. And not all divorced men are the same. One good thing about divorced men is they will have been used to commitment, and they will have been used to putting another person's feelings above their own, and especially if they have children, they will understand what it's like to care about another person. So you shouldn't necessarily write off divorced people because they can make lovely partners because they understand commitment and they understand what it takes to be in a marriage. So I wouldn't necessarily write them off, but you need to just generally be careful and wary about what stage a man is at. If he's freshly divorced, I mean, I personally wouldn't date a man until his divorce papers are signed. And he needs to be living on his own, in his own apartment, and ready to date. Not someone that's in the grey area, which I will go on to next. You want to be wary of the separated man. These men cause the most damage because they have one foot in, one foot out, and the other leg literally just wants to get one over. These type of men, they're going through something with their partner, they're not sure, and they're going through that trial separation period. You do not need to get involved with a man that is separated. He will break your heart, and unfortunately, the wife always wins. In these situations, when a man is separated, the wife always wins, because what usually happens is a man usually thinks that the grass is green on the other side. They've obviously been married, and you know, I imagine that it can probably get a bit boring sometimes if you're married, you know, sleeping with the same person. It can probably get a bit boring. And they see this whole world of, you know, new women on Tinder that are fun and exciting and sexy. And they probably have that, you know, one foot out, and they think that the grass is greener. And maybe after a couple of one night stands, a couple of bad experiences, a couple of rejections, they kind of think the grass isn't greener, I'm going back to the wife. And this is why you need to stay away from separated guys, because separated guys will just break your heart and they always go back to the wife. You will ultimately be a rebound. And again, separated men can tend to just traumatize women. Oh boy. See, we're still not even on the truly single guys here. The guys that are married or in a relationship, I did a video about this a few weeks ago because it's so important to watch out for these guys. And it tells you all the signs to look out for, if, you know, a guy's a player, if he's with someone, etc. So watch that video after this one. But you need to be wary that not all guys on Tinder are who they say they are. A lot of the time they're married. A lot of the time they're in relationships. A lot of the time they will be in that kind of wind down state of a relationship where they want to leave. They haven't quite got the balls to go, especially if they're living with that person. It gets complicated, and obviously the cost of living crisis, it's difficult for people to just branch out on their own and get a new apartment. So you need to be wary of this, guys. And in that video, I drill down on the signs to spot for a guy that is already with someone or that is married. But on the flip side of that, you'll get the guys that are married or in a relationship and they're honest about it. And they'll say in their profile, look, I'm married. I'm just looking for some discreet fun, because remember, the majority of men, you know, generalizing again, but men on the whole, they can dissociate from sex, and a man can have sex and then still go home and love his wife. And you know, not all men are like that. I think men get a bad rap because there are generally a lot of men out there that like sex to be, you know, a loving experience where they love someone. And there are guys in the comment section that say, look, I'm like you, I'm just looking for a woman that I can love and that I can be with. So not all men are like that. But the signs to spot out for that kind of man are the ones that have no photos, the ones that their profiles are vague, and you'll be able to spot them a mile off. If they don't say it in their profile, it's the ones where they're not revealing their true self. And they're also, a lot of the time, they're not verified as well. So you'll be able to spot those types of men quite easily. This is kind of a funny one. This is kind of like a wild card that I've thrown in, but the ugly couple. I mean, is it me? But any type of person that wants to threesome on a dating app, they're always so fugly. Like, I'm sorry, they're literally just like Shrek and Fiona. And you just think, these two people obviously don't have the balls to split up. And they're just on Tinder trying to find this like unicorn woman that wants to have sex with them. And they're literally just so ugly. And I know, I know that's mean. I know everyone's beautiful and everyone has a soul. But I think if you're on a dating app and you want a threesome, like, at least be hot. At least be, a 9 out of 10 if you're looking for a threesome on a dating app. Because I see these people like for years and they're still on there trying to find this like mystery woman to have sex with them. And I think, is your marriage so boring that you just have to constantly swipe on Tinder? I just feel sorry for these people. But yeah, these people aren't really a problem because you can just swipe straight away and just be like, oh, whatever, you just get out of my energy field, you're just in the way of me finding my person. Yes, we finally got onto single men, people. Single men. So I've spoken about this a lot recently. It's happened twice. And you need to be worried about the people that have just got out of a relationship. And I had that twice with a man, 6 years and 7 years, and they just weren't ready. They just literally, if a man splits up with a woman, I swear, within like a day they'll be on Tinder. Like, they don't even like take a breath. They're on Tinder and they're just traumatizing women and they're not ready to date. And if you've just come out of a long-term relationship, like, please just take a break. Like, if you're a man, like, take a break. I don't know, learn jiu-jitsu or something. Just take a break. Get off dating apps. You need to heal from your relationship. You need to work out what this person did wrong that you didn't like, what you did wrong in the relationship. Because remember, like, it's two people and it's not just like, oh, my ex did everything wrong. There's going to be things where you did things wrong, she did things wrong. And just to not go straight on a dating app. And the trouble is, you won't be able to spot these guys unless you ask them. And usually it's too late. And usually you've gone on 1 or 2 dates. But this is why I'm just ballsy and I just ask people now, because I don't have the time to waste. And I just ask people, what their relationship status is. And then you get an idea, because these men just aren't ready and they'll probably you'll be a rebound basically and just waste your time. But then you also get the commitment phobes. You get the guys that literally just want constant new sexual experiences. They don't want to settle down. And unfortunately, I don't know, sometimes you can spot these quite quickly because they just want sex and they won't take you out on dates, etc. So they're quite easy to spot. But sometimes, unfortunately, you go on a few dates before you realise that you're just stuck with a commitment phobe. And the commitment phobes tend to be the men that are looking for women much younger than them, because they know the women around their age will want to settle down and want kids. So they tend to date quite far down, and then they tend to think that they're like this big shot with lots of money. But yeah, just in general, the commitment phobes, the Leos, the Leonardo DiCaprios, just be wary of them. But this is worse. This is takes it on to the next level. This man, it's the single man, but it's the single man that just doesn't want a relationship because he can't be on his own. There's the Leonardo DiCaprio that is happy being single and that doesn't mind it. And then you get the other type of guy that just doesn't want to be alone. And I've encountered this a few times where the man literally doesn't want to be on his own. They will text you and communicate with you because they physically can't be listening to their own thoughts. They can't be in their own head. And Sometimes they're not even sexually attracted to you, they don't fancy you, but they just need that kind of female intimacy. If a man's been with someone and maybe they don't have a massive group of friends, and then they go from that female always being there and that rug's pulled away from them, some men generally can't cope with being on their own. So they get stuck in this dynamic where they talk to people on dating apps, etc., because they need that female intimacy and they can't be alone. This is why I tell you to like not waste your time talking on dating apps. Dating apps are for dates, they're not for talking. They're not for talking, they're not for building rapport. Dating apps are for arranging dates. If you want to get to know a man, it's on the phone or an actual date. That's why I say that. Otherwise, you get stuck with these men that just can't be alone. And you also get stuck with the needy fuckers, the needy men that just want your time all the time. And it's not healthy. It's you need your own interests and your own activities, so you're not constantly talking to this man, and you're setting boundaries and you're withholding your time. So any needy man will be repelled by that if you're busy. So that's a good sign. Oh God, this one. This is going to be quite quick, but men that put friends on a profile. Men that say they just want friends are men that just want sex. If they just put just wanting sex, no woman is going to match with them because, you know, women on the whole don't want sex. Women on the whole want a relationship. So they say friends. It's those oh God, it's those annoying men that pretend they're feminists just to get laid. It's the same kind of thing. It's where men pretend they want to be your friend just so they can get in your pants. So if a man puts the looking for friends, they're not looking for friends, they're looking for sex. And they think that we're stupid, but we know that. We know when a man puts looking for friends, it means I just want sex. Oh my God, these men just do my head in. The men that want you to initiate. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm going through a period now where it's like, dating apps, I'm not really dating at the moment because I'm just fed up. And it's because I kept getting this kind of lazy man. I kept getting the man that we would match and then he'd send me a love heart, or I'd match and he'd send me like a wavy hand. That's the new one now, it's the wavy hand. Or they just send hi. And these are the type of men that they're sitting in their feminine energy. They're sitting in their feminine energy where they want you to initiate. Maybe they've been hurt, or they're just not a confident guy at all. And they're sitting in that kind of beta feminine energy and they want you to reach out. And this is why if people just send me like the love heart, the wavy hand, I just ignore them because I know they've sent that to 50 girls. And even if sometimes I would experiment and I would reply and I'd put, you know, hi, how are you, or whatever, they just wouldn't reply. It's because these men had literally sent 50 love hearts to 50 girls, literally just picked the one they thought was the most hot or the sexually attractive, and then waited for them to initiate. So you don't want to get stuck with these like lazy beta men because you'll just be making the decisions all the time. You'll be driving it. You'll be, you know, making the dates because they're just beta men that you don't want. The psychopaths. I mean, it's going to be a really small proportion of men, but you will get some kind of psychopaths online. And sadly, it's like real life. It's like walking into a bar. You don't know what you're going to get. And you're going to get some men that are really bad and toxic. And unfortunately, it is just part of dating. The only thing you can do is just have strict boundaries, having a FaceTime before meeting in a safe place, telling your friends you're going on a date, etc. if you're really worried, and not letting a man overstep your boundaries. So if he's getting really pushy, if he like only insists that you meet at his, or he's like really pushy and like wants to come around to your place, they're just really bad red flags. It's a man that is preoccupied with sex and they'll want to initiate and have sex with you. So just use your intuition, and if you feel that a guy is really pushy and he's not willing to physically meet you in a public place, it's a bad sign. It's a bad sign that he has possibly, you know, narcissistic tendencies. The thing is, some men enjoy pushing women's boundaries. Some men, they almost get a sexual thrill out of pushing women's boundaries. So you have to be really cautious of these types of men and just use your boundaries, play it safe, and only let a guy back to your place if you feel a certain amount of safety. Which is, again, it's always going to be a risk. You're never going to know because men can turn, and that's why dating is scary for women because men put on an act. They put on an act, and then you can invite them home and they can turn. And there's people that do, you know, great videos out there about how to spot narcissists, etc. So I'd recommend watching them, because you're sadly not going to know. And it is you kind of have to trust people and go with gut. And it's just, as a woman, it's just the worst feeling. I'd say this proportion is quite common on Tinder. It's just single guys that want a friends with benefits. And it doesn't mean that he's a nasty person just because he wants to have sex and he has that sexual need, but a lot of men aren't ready for a relationship, but they still want that sexual connection for a woman. And remember, from what I've read, the male sex drive is different to the female sex drive. And as a woman, I can't fully appreciate what the male sex drive is like, but from what I've read, it's almost like a constant thing until they get much older. A lot of men just don't want a relationship, and at the end of the day, it's your call. And finally, well, there's two more, but last but not least, do you know what? There generally are single men on there that are looking for love, and we need to appreciate that this is true. It's not all men that just go out there wanting to have sex. You know, there's a large percentage of men that want to fall in love, they want to start a family, they want to find someone. And sometimes if you've been through a lot of bad experiences with men, you can think, oh, there's literally no decent men around. And if you get into that mindset and that energy field, you probably won't find anyone, because you won't be vibrating at the right frequency to find love, because you'll be in like a lower vibrational energy, and you won't attract someone that is positive and wants love. So that's why you need to remember that there are men that want love, but sadly they're just harder to find, and it's not going to be as common, unfortunately. But we need to remember that they are out there. It is possible. I know people that have got married from Tinder. It is possible. And we need to just try and, as much as we can, keep an open mind with that. And then I thought we just end it really negatively and just, I don't know. This is the highest proportion of men on dating apps. And I want to be bold and say that it's about 80% of men. And 80% of men on a dating app will not take you out on a date. And I used to be so upset with that. I used to just internalize that. And I used to think I'm not good enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. And have all these blocks around love. But the simple reason is that 80% of men won't take you on a date. 80% of men are just sadly time wasting. And if they're not time wasting, they're probably looking for a sexual connection and nothing else. And if you think about the hypothesis that I drew up earlier, was that 80% of women looking for marriage, 20% just want friends with benefits. And then you think of men, I'd say 80% don't want to take you on a date, 20% do. And this is why on the whole dating apps don't work, is because the women want one thing and the man want another thing. And then you also have to, you know, put into the works what men are told, and a lot of male dating coaches. I don't know any decent male dating coaches out there. If there are, just please link them in the bio, because the only male dating coaches that I know are the toxic ones, and the ones that will say all the shit like, don't spend money on a woman, don't have oral sex with a woman, don't have dates with women, have sex first before you have a date with women. All these kind of toxic messages that aren't going to lead men to the right type of women. And these men have sadly been hurt. And yeah, the whole, you know, who hurt you, it is kind of like a cliche on the internet, but it sadly is true for a lot of men. And I would say, whereas I have been hurt by men in the past, my advice comes from a place of trying to protect women. I don't say that, you know, all men are horrible. I say that, you know, there are great men out there. My brother is one of them. My brother is such a kind man, you know, he's decent. And there are great men out there. It's the men that perpetuate this myth that all women are gold diggers, that all women are narcissists, that all women are just on Instagram, just wanting validation. It's like, it's generally not true. Majority of women just like me, they're just normal women just trying to make it through the world. That is just mainly the thing why dating apps don't work, is because 80% of men won't take you on a date, because they're fed this narrative that being kind to a woman, showing interest in a woman is simp behavior, is you're going to get used if you take a woman out on a date. It's a bad thing. They see it as if you pay for a woman's dinner, that you're a simp, and that's generally not true. I think if you're dating a woman and you resent the fact that you've taken her out for dinner and she hasn't had sex with you, etc., you shouldn't be taking these women out for dinner. You can't see it as in, oh, I've lost all this money taking women out for dinner. Ironically, it's the women that, you know, hold out for the dates, etc., are the type of women that you want, but a lot of men sadly don't want to put in the effort. If you're newly single, I hope this video has helped you slightly, and please check out some other videos if you're new. See you soon. Take care.